evening and welcome to Alumni Arena here on the campus of Armstrong State University, where tonight the Mariners of the College of Coastal Georgia have come to Savannah to take on the Pirates of Armstrong State University. The Coastal Georgia Mariners 1-3 on the season, of course, lost Monday night in that contest to Georgia Southern 92-43. The Armstrong State Pirates 0-2 after dropping a pair of games at the PBC SAC Challenge that was last weekend up in Charlotte, North Carolina. They lost to Queens College 101-83 and just fell by 1 point to Anderson on Saturday 77-76. So you have two teams looking for a win coming up here tonight in Savannah. Of course, Armstrong Division II and College of Coastal Georgia, a NAIA program. So two guys that know a little bit about each other, and Evans Davis, the head basketball coach at Armstrong, Jesse Watkins at the College of Coastal Georgia as they get ready for tonight's contest here this evening. Different opponent for the College of Coastal Georgia here. You got a team you match up a little bit better with. A couple of guys at 6'9", 6'8", a little more your size in terms of body mass than what you saw earlier in the week against Georgia Southern. So should be a fun matchup tonight to see some of these guys battle it out in the low blocks. Denzel Council 6'7". You've got Larry Spicer 6'6" there as well. And again, going to be an interesting matchup of the guards here this evening as College of Coastal Georgia, very young basketball team, just three upperclassmen. They will all start tonight. Halen Washington, a junior, Brandon Martin, a junior, and Lamore Gabriel, a junior forward out of Manchester, New Hampshire. They will start. Most of the rest of the roster is all freshmen here for the College of Coastal Georgia. Just one sophomore in Mamadou Senghor. Everybody else is their first year playing college basketball for the Armstrong Pirates. Conversely, you see a junior, senior, freshman, and junior, very upperclassmen laden for the starting lineup tonight for the Armstrong State Pirates against this Coastal Georgia Mariners basketball team, who again played well in the first half, and then Georgia Southern way too much for them there in the second half as well. So a lot to get to here from Alumni Arena here on the campus of Armstrong State University as we get ready for the Mariners and the Pirates. Pregame warm-ups going on right now. You're listening to college basketball all across the Southern Pigskin Radio Network. Welcome back to Alumni Arena here on the campus of Armstrong State University. Kevin Thomas here with you this evening as we're getting ready for the College of Coastal Georgia Mariners getting ready to take on the Pirates of Armstrong State University. And all across the network tonight as well. Appreciate you tuning in for a little college basketball here this evening. Also want to give a big thanks to the folks at Armstrong State University. They've got us streaming along with their video broadcast tonight on their YouTube channel, Armstrong State Pirates, where you can find them on YouTube. So we appreciate that as well. Looking forward to a tremendous basketball game here this evening as we get ready for the national anthem and the introduction of the starting lineups. Let's look at it first for the homestanding Armstrong State Pirates. You've got, again, a bunch of upperclassmen starting and one freshman in that lineup. At the guard spot, you will have 6'6" junior from Chattanooga State, Larry Spicer, starting at one of the guard spots. Other guard, Jamerson Jeffers, big senior transfer from Virginia State, 6'1", 165-pounder. And at the other guard is a 6-foot freshman from Douglas County High School, Corey Tillery. And at the big man spot, you got 6'7" junior forward from Georgia Highlands, Denzel Council. And at the other forward spot, 6'5" junior KJ James out of High Point University, transfer here to Armstrong State University. College of Coastal Georgia going to start all their upperclassmen at the forward spot. It will be a 6'5" junior from Pensacola State, Florida, Halen Washington. At the other forward spot, Brandon Martin, a 6'4", 200-pound junior out of King College, and filling it up in the middle, 6'9", 220-pound junior Mabor Gabriel. And at the guard spots, two young freshmen. At the off guard, Jonathan Canada, 5'11", 175 from Camden County High School, and Isaiah Gibson from Episcopal. As we pause for the national anthem. Tonight's national anthem as we get ready to go here for Mariners and Pirates, as again the starting lineups will be introduced. Council, Tillery, Jeffers, James, and Spicer for the Pirates. It'll be Washington, Canada, Gibson, Martin, and Gabriel for the College of Coastal Georgia Mariners, head coached by Jesse Watkins in his second year. Evans Davis, head basketball coach at Armstrong State University here, as it's the home opener for the Armstrong Pirates here this evening. So good to have you along here on this Wednesday evening, getting ready for some basketball for those of you listening along the network. We're glad to have you along here as the College of Coastal Georgia taking on Armstrong tonight. Mariners will be wearing their dark blue road uniforms with black letters and numbers trimmed up in white. Armstrong State University going to wear white tops with maroon letters and numbers trimmed up in gold, and the digital camo shorts tonight for the Armstrong State Pirates. So as we get ready for them to get introduced here to the home crowd, we're just about ready to go here this evening. Again, want to send out a big thanks to Chad Jackson and the folks at Armstrong State for having us tonight and allowing us to tap in here on the web feed as well. So thanks to all of you listening along on Armstrong State Pirates YouTube channel there tonight as well. So good to have you along there. And all across the Southern Pigskin Radio Network here this evening. ESPN Radio Savannah, AM 1400, FM 104.3, and along the Golden Isles, the home of the College of Coastal Georgia Mariners on ESPN Radio, Coastal Georgia, AM 790 and FM 103.7. So we're glad you're all joining us here this evening. What's sure to be a tremendous basketball game here at Alumni Arena. Again, the Pirates with Coastal Georgia tonight do not play again until next week, where they go right back out on the road against St. Leo, and then a Thanksgiving
Holiday Classic as well. As a matter of fact, will not be back at home until they take on Valdosta State on Thursday, December 1st at 8 p.m. here at Alumni Arena. So a lot of living on the road here early for this Armstrong Pirates basketball team. So we are just about ready to go. As final handshakes, final instructions, Mariners are out on the court. It'll be Mabor Gabriel, who, as I understand, has a brother who plays basketball at the University of Kentucky, has a sister who plays basketball at Boston College. And he will jump it up here tonight for Coastal Georgia as the Pirates now out on the floor. Gabriel at 6'9". Looks like he's going to jump it up here with Denzel Council, 6'7". Mariners will work right to left across your radio dial here in half number one. Armstrong Pirates conversely left to right. And again, Armstrong wearing those digital camo trunks tonight, part of their salute to the military, as I believe all their teams having a military appreciation day at some point during their season. So all their teams outfitted with the digital camo of some sort throughout the course of their season. Tip is up. Armstrong going to control. Pirates will start it. Here working left to right, it comes down to Jamison Jeffers, and he'll control things in the front court here for the Pirates. Looks to go left side over to Tillery, and he's checked there by Canada out on the left wing. Back up top to KJ James, right side. They'll swing it around. Here's Larry Spicer. He'll work off a high ball screen. Now swing it left side. Down on the low block it goes, and into the corner it is Jeffers. They continue to work the perimeter here. Tillery, and it goes baseline with Spicer. He'll put one up from 10 feet short, and a rebound comes down to Mabor Gabriel for Coastal Georgia. It's the freshman Isaiah Gibson. Get it to Martin in the corner for three, no good. And a rebound comes down to the Pirates, who look to turn the floor over on the break, and there's a body check foul on Halen Washington, his first. So no score. 44 seconds into this one. And we might see a little more wide open offense from the Mariners here tonight than what they had against Georgia Southern, obviously trying to slow the pace of that one down. This one, I think the Pirates and Mariners kind of suit each other's style here. Here's a three from the corner, no good. And tipped around, controlled by Council. He'll feed it right back into paint, up and no good. Tipped around, still loose, up and in. Credit the basket to KJ James, who gets the Pirates on the board. And it's 2-0 Armstrong here. Just over a minute gone here in the first half. Mariners going to face a man-to-man here from the Pirates, as it's Washington up top, Martin. Martin going to feed it into Gabriel. Gabriel up off the glass and good. Just lobbed it over the top to Mabor Gabriel, and he put it up and in. And we're tied at 2 apiece here in the early going between the Mariners and Pirates. Up top, it's Tillery, right side to Jeffers. Off a high screen, back between the circles. Mariners staying in a tight man-to-man of their own. Here's the give and go over to KJ James in at the foul line, puts it on the floor, lost the basketball and over the end line. And that'll go over to Coastal Georgia. First turnover of the night for either team. As we're knotted at 2 apiece. Here's Gibson, checked way up top by Tillery between the circles. Left side it goes Canada. He'll find Martin top of the key. Right side to Halen Washington. They'll feed it down to Gabriel. Gabriel going to back it in, put it up off the glass short, and a rebound comes down to Armstrong. On the floor, it's James running the break. Does not have the numbers, but did find a trailer. And what do we have? Offensive foul? He had a trailer in Denzel Council, but they're going to call KJ James with the personal. That's his first. Ran over Mariner there at the end of that break. Still knotted at 2 apiece. 17:48 to go here in half number one. Home opener for Armstrong. Coastal Georgia trying to get a win after a tough one against Georgia Southern the other night, needless to say. Here's Martin up top. He'll come left side to Washington. Washington up top, Gibson. He'll stutter step and actually took an extra stutter, and he'll turn it over with the travel. And not sure what the stoppage is right now. Now we're ready to go. 2-2, 17:32 to go here in the first half. And now Mariners going to come out in a little pressure as Jeffers will get picked up in the backcourt by Gibson. Left side it goes, KJ James. Now they swing it back around to Jeffers. Back to James on the give and go. They swing it into the corner. Tillery on the bounce. Over to Council. Back to Jeffers. They'll swing it around. It's Tillery, a jumper from the left side up off the glass and good. And Armstrong leads it 4-2. With 17:02 to go here in half number one. Washington now bounces on the left wing for Coastal Georgia. Still looking. Falls for a Gabriel screen, steps in at the foul line, runner down the lane, no good, too short. Gets his own rebound up and in. Halen Washington, the junior, on the board, and we're knotted up at 4 apiece. Both teams trying to pack it down in the paint there, here offensively. Here's the inside give. Armstrong pumps it up and knocked out of there by more Gabriel, and it's going to be over the end line as he swatted KJ James under the basket. Gabriel with those long arms, 6'9". Trying to control things under the basket. Jeffers will be the trigger man. He'll come way up top to Council. Council long three, top of the key, too strong. And Gabriel will control for Coastal Georgia. Gibson will step out on the right side, looking for some help. On the bounce, closely guarded by Corey Tillery. Now way out front, these guarded. Here's Gabriel up top. He'll pop for a three, top of the key, and hit. No, going to say his foot was on the line. And it's 6-4, Coastal Georgia out in front of Armstrong. Here is Spicer on the left wing. Try to feed it down on the inside, finds Council. Council going to put it on the floor against Gabriel. Turn around, lost it, and they're going to call a foul. On Gabriel, that'll be his first. Got into foul trouble the other night against Georgia Southern. And we're at the first media timeout. We'll step aside. It's 6-4. Coastal Georgia over Armstrong right here all across the Southern Pigskin Radio Network. Welcome back. College basketball here on the Southern Pigskin Radio Network tonight, as it's the College of Coastal Georgia against Armstrong State University. Pirates and Mariners getting nautical here at Alumni Arena here on a Wednesday night. It will be Denzel Council at the free throw line here out of the media stoppage. Mariners lead at 6-4. Memorial Gabriel leads all scorers right now with 4 points. And the front end is no good. So Council no good. And a back end upcoming. No subs yet for either team, and it is in and out, no good. Rebound comes down to Coastal Georgia. 6-4 our score. Ball is stolen, coming the other way. It is Corey Tillery, lays it up off the glass, and good. As now it's 6 apiece as we work towards 15 and a half to go. Here's Gibson looking for some help, picked up his dribble, trying to find somebody, gets it down to Gabriel. Gabriel going to bounce it on the floor, step in baseline, and did he travel? Yes, he did. So that's another turnover.
Checking in for the Pirates, number 5, Caleb
15:24 to go. Gabriel took an extra step there, trying to spin move to the basket. As here is Jamison Jeffers. He'll swing it left side. Now we have a sub in for Kalen Clifton, and he'll give it up top. Now back to Jeffers. Around it goes to Council. Over to Clifton. Back to Council down on the block. He'll back it in against Washington. Tried the righty hook shot, and he got a little harm there on his way to the basket. He'll go shoot a couple. They're going to get it on Jonathan Canada, the freshman from Camden County. And it will be Denzel Council, who's looking for his first points of the night. 0 for 2 as he was just at the charity stripe. And drops that first one in.
Into the game for Coastal Georgia, number 24, Landon Sarrazin, and number 5, Jordan Lewis.
Jordan Lewis checking in for Coastal Georgia. Also, Landon Sarrazin. Back in on the way by Council. It's good. So he's got 2. And a Pirate lead is 2, 8-6. 15:01 to go here in the first half from Alumni Arena. And here is Gibson up top to Washington. Washington looking over a man-to-man look from KJ James. He'll bounce it on the floor, put it up off the glass, way too strong. And a rebound down to the Pirates. Jeffers will race it front court, outlet pass, comes up to Tillery. Tillery gonna bounce, kick it out to Clifton for 3, no good. Rebound comes down though to James, throws it up off the glass and in. KJ James. He's got 4 points. It's 10-6 now. Armstrong out in front. Up top, it goes to Lewis. Lewis, another freshman here for Coastal Georgia. You'll hear us say that a lot tonight. And he's got it on the right wing. Stutter step, kicks it out to Gibson. Another freshman over to Washington. Washington gonna bounce to his left, pull up a 3 and hit. Halen Washington. He's got 5. And it's 10-9. Armstrong's lead trimmed down to 1. Jeffers gonna hand the weave off here to Clifton as they run to the outside perimeter trying to find something. Back to Jeffers. He'll work against Gibson. Now calls for the high screen. Bounces to his left. Looking for help. Comes up top. James pump faking. Steps in at the foul line. A running one-hander too strong. Gets his own rebound up and no good. Couldn't get it to fall. And Washington there to clean it up for Coastal Georgia. 13:30 to go, first half. It's 10-9 Armstrong. As here is Lewis. Around to Sarrazin. Back to Martin. Martin will step in at the foul line, give it up to Gibson. Over to Washington. Washington steps in lane, drives it, throws it up way too strong, no good. And now the Pirates out on the break. It's James, he'll dump it over to Clifton, and up, and no good. Clifton there to clean it up, no good. Armstrong all over the boards, puts it up and in. And that'll go to actually Council, excuse me. He'll get credit for that, putting it up and in. 12-9, Armstrong now leads. Gibson over to Lewis. Lewis steps in, running, scoop-de-doo layup. Nice move there, Jordan Lewis, as he gets on the board. And it's 12-11, Armstrong's lead back to 1. Here is Council, feeds it inside to James. James gonna spin baseline, try the reverse layup up, no good, too strong. But Denzel Council there to pick it up off the glass and in. So starting to go back and forth here with some buckets at a little quicker pace. Here's Martin on the right side. It's 14-11. Armstrong out in front. Sarrazin in the right corner. Looking for a give and go. Lewis lost the basketball over the end line. His eyes got bigger than his head there as he thought he had an unabated path to the basket and just couldn't hang on to the basketball. Jonathan Canada, Jalen Smallwood in for Coastal Georgia. So right now on the floor for Coastal Georgia, you have 4 freshmen and Brandon Martin, the junior, here for Coastal Georgia. Also, George Brown checks in for Armstrong. He'll give it up to Clifton. Clifton, up top it goes to Logan Ballard. Ballard will give it to Denzel Collins, who's checked in. Collins running through the lane, and he was looking for the first down. He just tucked it. Nice 5 points of contact on that basketball. And tried to tuck it through there. And he'll get called for the timeout. We're at the under 12 timeout. It's Armstrong 14, Coastal Georgia 11. You're listening to college basketball all across the Southern Pigskin Radio Network. Welcome back to college basketball here all across the Southern Pigskin Radio Network. And again, thanks to the folks at Armstrong State University. We're streaming live on their YouTube channel as well. They've patched into our audio here, so we appreciate those folks allowing us to do that as well. It's 14-11, Armstrong State out in front. Here are the visiting Mariners from Coastal Georgia. Here's Lewis. Up top, he'll bounce against George Brown between the circles. Gives it up to Mabor Gabriel, who's back into the ball game. Back to Lewis. Lewis driving in the lane. Right-handed layup. Lost it to the basket. And over the inline, last touch by Lewis. And it'll come back to Armstrong. Mariners going to come out in some full court pressure here. It'll come into Brown. Double team coming quickly to Brown. Gets it back over to Council. Back to Brown. Tipped around. Ball is loose. And Armstrong going to get it back, and they're going to call. Who are they going to call it on? They're going to call it on George Brown. So George Brown will pick up his first. Just 3 fouls for each team here so far. Halen Washington leads the Mariners with 5 points. 6 points for Denzel Council. There in Armstrong. Here's Lewis in the left corner for Coastal Georgia. He'll feed it down on the block to Saracen. Kicks it out up top, Canada. Canada off the Gabriel screen. Going to step to the basket into the corner, and he ran over somebody. So Jonathan Canada going to get called for the charge. Ran over Denzel Collins. Transfer from UAB. Savannah High native. Full court pressure again for Coastal Georgia as they will trap Brown for Armstrong in the corner. Council gives it up to Collins. Collins going to bring it up. Now into the front court. There's a double team as he picks up his dribble. Looking for help. Gives it up in the way to Denzel Council. He'll find George Brown, who will reset here for Armstrong. Brown going to step in. What are they going to call? A little too much aggressiveness there for Smallwood. Jalen Smallwood a little too tight on the defense there. That'll be his first. Brandon Martin, Halen Washington back in for Coastal Georgia. KJ James going to step in for Denzel Council here as well. Here it is, right side, Brown to James. James at the foul line, right back to Brown. He'll give it into the corner to Logan Ballard, and Ballard lost the basketball. He had a little help. And it's going to be Mabor Gabriel. It's going to be his second. And again, got in foul trouble the other night against Georgia Southern, and Mabor Gabriel going to have a seat. And it will be Landon Saracen back in for Coastal Georgia. 14-11, Armstrong out in front, 10:45 to go here in the first half. Inbounds pass comes to Clifton, now back to Brown, up top to Collins. Collins thought about it, now goes left side to Clifton, he'll spot for 3 and hit. Kalen Clifton gets on the board, it's 15-11. Armstrong out, or 17-11, excuse me, Armstrong out in front. Largest lead of the night for either team. And here's Washington up top to Saracen. Tried to feed it in the paint, fed it to nobody. And here comes Brown running it out for Armstrong. Feeds it underneath, and a nice run-out layup good for Kalen Clifton. And a timeout, Jesse Watkins, a 30-second timeout. We'll keep it here as that lead has gone 19-11 in favor of the Armstrong State Pirates. And you're seeing some of that youth and inexperience for Coastal Georgia. You got 2 juniors in Washington and Brandon Martin out there. Everybody else that's in the ball game is a true freshman. Again, kind of a strange roster for Coastal Georgia where you have 3 upperclassmen, 1 sophomore, and everybody else. I believe this is their 5th game of college basketball ever. So you can kind of see what Jesse Watkins is working with. You're trying to stave off some of this stuff where you play close and then over a span of a couple of minutes, it starts to get away from you and you go on a 6-0 run. You let the other team go 6, 7, 8-0 run, and all of a sudden you find yourself behind 8 points where you were nip and tuck here for a good portion of the first 10 minutes. So out of the timeout, 19-11. Armstrong out in front. Here's Washington for the Mariners. Driving down the lane, puts it up off the glass, and good. Washington's got 7. And it's 19-13. Mariners right in the press. Turnover. Comes into the hands of Gibson. He'll give it up Martin. Martin goes down the lane, up off the glass, and good. And Evans Davis just got his hands on his hip. Like, come on, guys, take care of that basketball. 19-15, Armstrong out in front. Here's James down the lane. Ballard, and James just ran over somebody on the dish to Ballard. Or did they call it on? Did they call it a? Oh, they switched it. Called it on Coastal Georgia. They called it on Brandon Martin. That's Martin's first personal. That'll put Armstrong in the 1-1 bonus. As KJ James will take a couple, or 1-1 here. Pirates up 19-15. 9:32 to go first half. He hits the first. That gives James 5 tonight. Denzel Council back in for Armstrong. So the back end upcoming for James, the 6'5 junior. Sends it on its way, and what do we have here? Lane violation against Denzel Council, I believe. So wave it off. It's 20-15 Armstrong out in front. Isaiah Gibson. Right side to Washington. He'll kick it up top. Gibson, he'll spot for three. In and out, no good. That thing was down and out. And here comes Armstrong. It's Jeffers. Out on the right wing, calls for the high ball screen. He'll step in, left elbow jumper is good. Rolled all over there and went in. 22-15 now, Armstrong. As here's Washington on the left wing. He'll step against James, step in at the lane, go up, and what do they have? They call blocking foul. I believe that's what they're going to get, a blocking foul on Denzel Collins. That'll be his first personal foul, his second personal foul, rather. So, Halen Washington at the free throw line. He'll get a couple, and he'll knock down the first. Washington's got 8 points here in the first half. And it's 22-16. Mariners trail back at home. 22-17, 8 points for Halen Washington. And the Mariners jump right into that full court pressure. Here's Jeffers. Looking for some help. He'll swing it cross court to Corey Tillery. Back to Jeffers. Jeffers back to Tillery. They play a little two-man game. Break the press. Now Tillery going to spot for three. No good. Rebound, though, comes down. KJ James and lays it up and in. He's just dominating the interior there on those boards. 8:33 to go. Here's Washington. Left wing. He'll cross over. Step back. Pop from 12 feet. No good. Too strong. And a rebound comes down to the Pirates. Outlet pass. KJ James. Tip pass forward. Up and good to Larry Spicer. As Larry Spicer gets on the board, his first 2 points of the night. And it's a 9-point ball game. Armstrong up 26-17. Here's Washington looking for some help, top of the circle. Not finding any. Now calls for a screen, now comes to his left. He'll step in, throw it up, get fouled, and I believe that's going to be Jeffers. That'll be his first personal. And it will send Halen Washington to the free throw line. When we come back after this timeout, it's Armstrong 26, Coastal Georgia 17. You're listening to college basketball all across the Southern Pigskin Radio Network. Welcome back to Alumni Arena. 7:59 to go here in half number one. It's Armstrong State 26, Coastal Georgia 17. Pirates out in front here, but out of this timeout, it'll be Halen Washington at the free throw line after the foul on Jamison Jeffers right before that timeout. So he'll get 2 shots. Halen Washington leads all scorers right now with 9 points on this ball game. And 2 of 2 at the free throw line, which he was there just a minute ago. Make it 3 of 3. And he's in double figures with 10. (26-18) now. And we'll see if the junior from Milton, Florida can drop it in. And he does, 26-19. Armstrong State still out in front. Jeffers in the backcourt. He's pressured by Lewis. Now Lewis and Washington, they're really forcing the issue on the ball. As Jeffers will go left side to Tillery. Washington's on him. Mariners look to be in a little matchup zone here now that they've relaxed into. Tillery trying to feed it somewhere. He finds Jeffers, spots for 3 right side, and rattles it home. Jamison Jeffers with a 3. He's got 5 on the night, and it's 29-19. Up to a 10-point lead here. Here's Washington. He'll bounce to his right. Over to Lewis. Lewis going to step in, feeds it back to Washington, lays it up and good. Halen Washington now with 13. And Mariners don't get back on defense as they try to save it, and do they? Who was that off of? You're going to call a foul on Landon Saracen. As Larry Spicer tried to save it off of Saracen's face, but they had called a defensive foul before that, so it'll be Larry Spicer, the junior, here with a couple of shots as we wait for Denzel Council to get his shoe back on.
At the line for the Pirates, number 32, Larry Spicer.
Lefty will send the first one on the way, and it is good. 30-21. Three points for Spicer on the night. 31-21. Now Armstrong in a little pressure of their own. Trying to put some pressure on these young freshman ball handlers for Coastal Georgia. It's cleared up to Washington. Underneath is Saracen, way too strong. Gets his own rebound, puts it up and in. So Saracen's first points of the ball game. Here's Armstrong quickly into the front court. It is Spicer. Over to Council. Council puts it up off the glass. No good, too strong. Loose ball comes down and into the hands of Lewis for Coastal Georgia. So the backcourt here, a couple of freshmen right now for Coastal Georgia. As here is Gibson. He'll pull up from 8 feet on the left side. No good. Tipped around. Still tipped around, and it will be controlled by Corey Tillery. He'll bring it front court to Jeffers. Left side, they'll swing it over to Spicer for 3. Short. Rebound, though, picked up and in by K.J. James. Nobody got a body on K.J. James, and he just picked it up and dropped it in. 33-23. Armstrong leads it by 10. As here's Lewis. Up top, between the circles. He'll stutter step, pull up from the foul line, and no good. And rebound comes down to Armstrong. Jeffers going to force the issue here up the left side. Going to bounce and spin into the lane. Kicks it up top to Tillery. Back to Jeffers. Directs traffic out on the left wing. Goes towards the left corner. Now bounce underneath. Finds Council for the layup up and good. Drew the defense, and Council standing there by himself. Laid it up and in. Really easy there. It's 35-23. Armstrong State. Here's Isaiah Gibson. Up top, going to bounce in, and was going to throw it out to Martin. Martin was cutting to the basket, and they turned the ball over. Mabor Gabriel back in. Jonathan Canada back in for Coastal Georgia. So about as veteran a lineup as Coastal's going to get with 3 juniors out there. It's 35-23. Armstrong leads. Armstrong State. Here's Jeffers left side. Now gets it back. Goes left side again to K.J. James. Or make that Larry Spicer. Now it goes to KJ James. Back to Jeffers. A long three is no good. And rebound, though, comes down to Armstrong. Back to Jeffers. Tillery, three, left side on the pass is good. On the swing pass, Corey Tillery drops it in for three. And it's 38-23. Washington, right side, he'll step baseline, put it up, and no good. Gabriel comes down with a rebound for Coastal Georgia. Kick back to Martin. And the Mariners will reset. Here's Canada, top of the circle. And he'll reset for Coastal Georgia. Now what do we have? I'm going to call a hand check on Jordan Jeffers, or Jamison Jeffers, excuse me. That'll be his second. 16 foul on Armstrong, so one more will put Coastal Georgia in the bonus with 4:21 to go. And it comes to Gabriel. He'll give it up to Canada. Canada steps in, now back out behind the arc. He'll work against Jeffers. Gabriel comes up for the high ball screen. Here's Canada. Over to Lewis. Lewis spins in at the foul line, gives it up to Washington. Washington tried to put it up from 2 feet, no good, had it blocked. And now Martin going to pick it up. He'll spot for three, and they're going to say he traveled. And that'll bring us to the under 4 timeout. It's Armstrong State 38, Coastal Georgia 23. You're listening to college basketball on the Southern Pigskin Radio Network. Welcome back to Alumni Arena. Armstrong State 38, Coastal Georgia 23, 3:58 before halftime. You're listening to college basketball here across the Southern Pigskin Radio Network. Halen Washington has 13 to lead all scorers tonight for Coastal Georgia, but it's been pretty balanced. 9 for KJ James, Denzel Council with 8, Corey Tillery with 7. Here for Armstrong State. Left side it goes to Larry Spicer. Back to George Brown, who's checked back in out of Camden County High School. Here's Spicer, back to Brown. He'll step in left side, back to Spicer, who'll pop for three from the left side, too strong. Rebound comes down to KJ James. He'll swing it to the corner. Tillery right side for three, got it. Got to put a body on Corey Tillery as he's starting to warm up from behind the arc. It's 41-23. Here's Canada. He'll work right side. Canada in at the foul line. He'll go running left-hander up off the glass and good. Just kept on going around. And Jonathan Canada gets on the board. Now outlet pass to Council Mamor. Gabriel got a piece, but they're going to call the block on Washington underneath. And for Halen Washington, that will be his second personal.
Halen Washington, it's his second personal foul. Team 9 at the line.
And so Coastal Georgia not very deep along that front line. Council on the front end, it's good. Denzel Council with 9. So you got to watch for foul trouble for the Mariners as Mabor Gabriel's got 2. Jonathan Canada's got 2. Halen Washington with 2. Back end up coming here for Denzel Council. Looking for his 10th point of the night, and he's got it. 43-25. Not sure what to hold up here, but Armstrong sets up in their press. Martin triggers it in. He's got Lewis. Lewis going to cross over, trying to break that pressure. Now gets it front court. Over to Canada. 3:05 to go here in the first half. Canada off the high screen from Gabriel. He'll go right side, Martin. Martin going to step right side out to Canada. Canada back to Martin. on the right wing. He'll step in foul line over to Lewis. He'll pop for three left side, too strong. And ball's loose, comes down into the hands of George Brown. Running the break, Brown up, no good, tipped up and in. Not sure who they're going to give that credit to. We'll give it to Larry Spicer, I believe. And that's who it goes to. It's 45-25, and just like that, last handful of minutes, Armstrong's pushed this thing to 20. Here's Martin up top. He'll feed inside to Gabriel, too strong, and he's going to battle it away from Brown. Gabriel reverse layup, no good, and what happened? That was kind of a late whistle. And it's going to be on KJ James. That'll be his second personal. And it will send Mabor Gabriel to the free throw line. Gabriel's got 4 points, 3 rebounds on the night, a block. As we said in the pregame, Gabriel's got a brother, plays at the University of Kentucky, and as he knocks down the first one, he's got a sister who plays women's basketball at Boston College.
Checking in for the Pirates.
And of course, Mabor playing at the College of Coastal Georgia. DeMarcus Cunningham, a 6'7" junior from Northeast Community College by way of Atlanta, Georgia, is checked in for Armstrong, and Gabriel knocks down the back end. Gabriel check out here with 2:19 as Coastal goes a little smaller and they'll full court press. Inbounds pass comes to Tillery. There's a double team. He tries to get it around. He does to Brown. Now into the front court it goes. And there is Spicer. No good, too strong. Picked up and no good, too strong again. The Mariners will clear it out of there as Cunningham tried with the stick back. Could not get it to fall. Here's Martin. He thought about a three. Now steps back. Tried to feed it inside. It was kicked. And they'll reset with 2 minutes to go here in the first half. (45-27). Armstrong State here. Jalen Smallwood triggers from the far sideline. Looking, gets it in. Canada back between the circles as he'll try to reset here for Jesse Watkins. Here's Martin, thought about a three up top. Now he'll pop it for three and hit. Brandon Martin gets a three. He's got 5, had 15 the other night against Georgia Southern. And he gets one to drop from long range. Now here's the double team. Over to George Brown. Brown in at the foul line will feed Cunningham up and in and just lost it on the defensive end, did Coastal Georgia. And Cunningham just standing there by himself, lays it up and in. Here's Lewis in at the foul line. Right side, Martin. He'll pop for three and hit. Back-to-back threes for Brandon Martin. He's got 8. It's 47-33. Armstrong State out in front. Here's Brown to Council. Right side to Tillery. In at the foul line. Now we'll spin back. 65 seconds to go here in the first half from Alumni Arena on the campus of Armstrong State University. And slapped out of bounds by Smallwood. It will stay Armstrong basketball here as they lead it by 14. Spicer brings it into Brown. Brown will work against Lewis. Up top to Council. Council at the foul line, right side. It goes to Spicer. He'll bounce to his right, pull it up, left-handed, no good. And rebound still loose. Armstrong going to come out of there with it. What's going to happen there? I believe Council got fouled. Let's see who they give it to.
Fouls on Coastal Georgia's number 24, Landon Saracen.
That's going to be on Landon Saracen, his second. So that's starting to stack up for Coastal Georgia. You got Jonathan Canada with 2. Jordan Lewis does not have a foul. Saracen with 2. Halen Washington with 2. Mabor Gabriel with 2. And Denzel Council at the free throw line, no good. Council now 5 of 7 from the charity stripe tonight. Got 10.6 rebounds already here in the first half. 17 minutes of action. 49 seconds to go here as Armstrong State out in front. Back end is rattled home and good. 48-33. Here's Canada, right side, trying to avoid the double team. And now he'll come front court against Tillery. Man-to-man the rest of the way for Armstrong State. As Canada works off a high ball screen. Canada over to Martin. Thought about it. Martin going to pop for 3 and hit. That's 3 in a row. He's feeling it. Gives a fist pump with 25. It's 48-36. Armstrong State still out in front with 20. I believe they're going to hold for one. George Brown telling everybody stay right there as they hold for one shot. Brown will bounce to the left, steps in and lost it off his foot. It'll go to Coastal Georgia with 9 seconds. Nine seconds. Now they're going to hold. They may want to put this. I think Jesse Watkins was saying there should have been an extra second on the clock. So let's see what they do. 9.6 is what they'll get. Has a chance to get this to single digits if they can knock down another basket here. Martin, the trigger man, gets it in. Lewis lost the basketball underneath. Here's Council with a dunk with 4 seconds. And almost another steal at the buzzer. It's Council. Good. At the buzzer, sloppy play cost him 4 points for Coastal Georgia. Wright going to the locker room, and Jesse Watkins not happy with his basketball team there. It's 51-36. You thought you had a shot to come down, have a possession to get it under double digits, and instead you give up 4 points in 9 seconds going the other way. So at the half, it is Armstrong State 51, Coastal Georgia 36 as we've come to the half here at Alumni Arena. We'll come back, give you some first half thoughts, some first half stats as well. You're listening to college basketball right here all across the Southern Pigskin Radio Network and streaming live at ESPNCoastal.com. Similar outside of the turnover margin. Coastal Georgia shooting 50% on 13 of 26. Armstrong shooting 51.3. Both have made 4 3-pointers on the night. 6 of 6 from the charity stripe for Coastal Georgia. 8 of 11 for Armstrong here at the charity stripe in the first half. Armstrong, though, getting it done on the boards. 23 rebounds to Coastal Georgia's 10. 10 assists also on the night. And then you get to the turnover margin. 11 turnovers in that first half for Coastal Georgia to Armstrong's 7. Look at the scoring here in the first half. It's been Denzel Council having fun there inside the paint. 15 points and 6 boards in the first half to lead all scorers here this evening. 10 points for Corey Tillery who was feeling it behind the arc. Couple of three-pointers there. 9 points for KJ James, 6 points for Larry Spicer. Kalen Clifton dropped in 5 off the bench as DeMarcus Cunningham dropped in 2. For Coastal Georgia here in the first half, they are led by Halen Washington, 13 points on 4 of 10 shooting, but did drop in 4 free throws in the first half, 3 rebounds. Brandon Martin got to double figures, dropping in a bunch of threes there at the end. 11 points for him, 2 rebounds on the night. No other Mariner in double figures. Mabora Gabriel, in just 8 minutes of action, has 6 points, again experiencing the foul trouble with 2 fouls in short time. Jesse Watkins obviously trying to play him more here in the second half. So foul trouble, something to look forward to in the second half is Halen Washington, Jonathan Canada, and Mabora Gabriel. Also Landon Sarrazin all have 2 fouls there in that first half. So pretty interesting first half for both teams. Had a chance to get back under 1 possession there right before the half as Coastal Georgia had the ball. Made a big stop defensively with about 9 seconds to go or so in the half. 9 seconds to get a shot off. They turned it over once. They turned it over twice. And then Armstrong, of course, took that and scored 2 buckets there right before the half to extend that lead 52-36. And Jesse Watkins, head basketball coach at the College of Coastal Georgia, obviously was not excited about that as, again, you had a chance to get it under 10, and instead it balloons up to 16 just like that. And certainly have some things you got to do in the locker room to try to get that corrected as you've played fairly well. Same thing that plagued you the other night against Georgia Southern came back to bite you again. Just too many turnovers at inopportune times. We are at the half. It's Armstrong 52, Coastal Georgia 36. We'll come back with more halftime thoughts, get you ready for the second half as well. After this, you're listening to college basketball all across the Southern Pigskin Radio Network. Welcome back. We are at the half. Kevin Thomas here with you. Thanks for listening to college basketball here tonight all across the Southern Pigskin Radio Network. Again, want to thank the folks with Armstrong State University. We using our audio tonight on their web feed as well. So for those of you listening via the YouTube channel and the web stream there for Armstrong State University, we appreciate you listening along here tonight as well. What's been a pretty entertaining basketball game. Got off to a slow start, and then that last 10 minutes or so, both teams picked up the offense. 52 points in the first half for Armstrong, 36 for Coastal Georgia. And again, the story of the first half there was a couple of turnovers, and that last 9 seconds, it went up to 16 with 2 turnovers by the Mariners in 9.6 seconds to close out the half, where they inbounded the ball. Jordan Lewis turned the ball over. A quick give and scoop and score from George Brown to Denzel Council, and then more trouble on the inbounds pass, trying to get back up the court quickly. Stolen by Council, who laid it up and in as time expired to give the Pirates their lead, 52-36. So following this game tonight, again, more road living here for the Armstrong Pirates, as they've got a couple of weeks before they're back here at home. This is the home opener for the men's basketball team here as well. It's at St. Leo next Tuesday, Thanksgiving tournament Friday and Saturday in Greenwood, South Carolina, where they will play Livingston and Fayetteville State, and then off until December 1st, where they will be back at home against Valdosta State, an 8 p.m. tip. No, they will be at Valdosta State, then at Coastal Georgia, at Georgia College, at Montevideo, and not at home again until December 30th. So I stand corrected, almost a full month until Armstrong will be back at home again on December 30th. Conversely, I believe Coastal Georgia 5 straight home games following this one on the road here tonight. So Armstrong going to be the road warriors here until right up near the first of the year. They go to Valdosta State, to Coastal Georgia, at Georgia College, and at Montevideo before Point University comes to Savannah on December 30th. That's a 3 p.m. start on a Friday afternoon as we get ready to close out 2016. We've got more to come here from Alumni Arena, second half right around the corner. It will be Armstrong basketball, I believe, as we come out of the, Coastal Georgia basketball as we come out of the halftime break. They trail at 52-36. You're listening to college basketball all across the Southern Pigskin Radio Network. Welcome back to Alumni Arena here, getting ready for second half action between Armstrong State University and the College of Coastal Georgia. It's 52-36. Coming out of the half. You've got Denzel Council leading all scorers with 15 for Armstrong State. Halen Washington's got 13 for Coastal Georgia. Brandon Martin with 11 and 10 points for Corey Tillery. Those are all the players in double figures here as we get ready for the second half here at Alumni Arena. And again, a storyline to watch here in the second half is you've got some key guys for a couple of teams with 2 fouls, so it could get interesting pretty quick depending on how it goes. Mabor Gabriel, he's got 2 in only 8 minutes of action. He's a guy that I know Coastal Georgia really wanted to get going, and same problem as earlier this week against Georgia Southern, just cannot play extended minutes because of foul trouble, and he's got 2. You've got Landon Saracen with 2, one of the other bigs that has gotten in there and played. Halen Washington, one of the other bigs, has got 2. Jonathan Canada has got 2 out there. Armstrong has got Jamison Jeffers, KJ James, and Denzel Collins, all with 2 apiece. So a couple of guys there that could wind up in some foul trouble if they get called for a foul here early. It's 52-36, just about ready to go here to finish up the final 20 minutes from Alumni Arena. Mentioned Armstrong State's next game coming up. Coastal Georgia will play Weber International on the 19th. That game was actually postponed, so I apologize there. Next game coming up on the 28th is at home against Edward Waters for Coastal Georgia, November the 28th there at Howard Coffin Gym. So, and then December 1st at University of Mobile. That's a conference game, so their conference play will get started coming up on December 1st there for Coastal Georgia as we get ready for the final 20 minutes from Alumni Arena. It'll be the Mariners basketball to start this thing coming out of the locker room. Down 52-36. Here is that is Gibson. Isaiah Gibson's back at the point. He'll give it up to Martin. Martin on the left block. He'll pass it out to Canada. Canada looking for a high screen from Gabriel. He'll get it as he bounces to his right. He goes right side, Washington, and what do we have there? That's going to be called on KJ James. That'll be his third, so there you go. It took 18 seconds for somebody to pick up their third. And it's KJ James. For Armstrong, inbound pass comes to Gabriel. He'll bounce down on the right block. Looking, kicks it way out to Washington. Armstrong in a 2-3 zone look here to start the second half. Left side it goes Canada. Cross court into the corner to Martin. Back to Isaiah Gibson. Back to Canada. To Gibson up top off a high screen. He'll kick it back Martin. Martin will pop for 3. He's top of the key. No good short. And rebound comes down to Jeffers for Armstrong State. Jeffers racing up right side. Cross court pass to Council. Into the corner it goes to Larry Spicer on the block to James. Cross court pass Jeffers. On a right wing, left side Tillery. He'll feed it down on the block. That is KJ James. Trying to reverse layup. No good. Mabor Gabriel got a piece. But I think he just picked up his third foul. And he did.
It's his third personal foul. Team first.
So Mabor Gabriel just cannot seem to play extended minutes without picking up fouls, and I believe he's going to come out already. Looks like he will give way to Landon Saracen, another freshman. And it is good for KJ James. And again, if you're just joining us and not familiar with Coastal Georgia, just 3 upperclassmen on the whole roster. That's Mabor Gabriel, who just checked out, Brandon Martin, and Halen Washington. The back end by James, it is good. KJ James has got double figures. It's 54-36. He's got 10. But 3 upperclassmen for Coastal Georgia as there's a loose ball almost saved and lost out of bounds. Last touch by Armstrong State. But they've got 3 juniors, 1 sophomore, and the rest of their roster freshmen. So trying to, just their 5th college game for much of this roster, trying to figure it out here under Jesse Watkins. Inbounds pass comes to Gibson. He's one of those freshmen in the corner. Back to Washington, directing traffic out on the wing. He'll get a high ball screen, top of the key, spot for 3, and in and out, no good. Rebound comes down to Armstrong State. Here's James. He'll give it up to Jeffers. Jeffers will cross over here between the circles. Over to Tillery. He couldn't hang on in the corner. Got it back. Now trying to spin baseline, and now what are they going to get? Foul's going to be on Jonathan Canada, and that'll be his third. Team's second already, and we're not quite 2 minutes old here in the second half.
Fouls on Coastal
Pirate basketball here. It'll be Jeffers from the baseline. And he'll drop it in. That is Spicer. And he may have got away with a stutter step, but there's KJ James. And what do you have? A block underneath and one for KJ James. And that's going to be Landon Saracen getting called for the blocking foul.
Fouls number 24, Landon Saracen.
That's his third. So again, the foul's starting to mount up. And it will be DeLondis Hopkins, another freshman from Northside High School out of Columbus, checking in for Coastal Georgia. And James spins it in his palm, sends it on the way, and what do we have? Lane violation on Denzel Council. That's his second lane violation of the night. And now we got to clean up a little moisture on the floor here. It's a 20-point ball game for Armstrong State. 18-19 to go here from Alumni Arena. Here's Washington. Behind the back dribble, goes right side to the lane, puts it up off the glass and good. Washington's got 15. And it's 56-38. Here's Council over to Jeffers. Jeffers closely checked there up top. Over to Spicer. Gives it up to Council. Council looking for some help to Tillery off a screen for three, short. Rebound comes down to Council into the corner. A long range two is up and good by Larry Spicer. And Spicer's got 8. And it's 58-38. Mariners cannot catch a break, just getting dominated on those boards. 15 offensive rebounds tonight for Armstrong. Here's Saracen, pump fake, kicks it into the corner. Three for Jordan Lewis is no good. And what do we have? The foul's going to be on Denzel Council. That'll be his third. No, excuse me. Yeah, his first. So it'll stay with, got called for a push on the backside. It'll stay with Coastal Georgia. Inbounds pass. Martin, three, top of the key off the inbounds pass is good. Brandon Martin for three. He's got 14, and it's 58-41. When they give him a clean look, he can fill it up behind the arc. Left side it comes to Armstrong and Larry Spicer. Up top it's Council. Loose ball still struggling. He gets it back. Back to Jeffers. Jeffers will work off a high screen left side. Around a double team, he goes to the basket, lays it up off the glass, in and out, no good. Tip back by Council, no good. And what are we going to get? I believe we're going to get a foul called on Martin of Coastal Georgia. That'll be his second. So stays with Armstrong State. Inbounds pass comes. That is going to be Larry Spicer. Puts it up and good from 8 feet. And Larry Spicer's got 10. And it's 60-41. Armstrong State. Right side it comes. Washington. He'll come bounce in behind the back at the right elbow. Left side to Martin. Into the corner it goes to Gibson. Gibson looking for some help against Tillery. He'll step in, drive to the lane, feed it underneath the Saracen. Spins around, puts it up and in. Landon Saracen, he's got 4. And back the other way quickly is Armstrong. Spicer going to drop it to Jeffers. They'll swing it around Tillery. Back to Jeffers, top of the key. He'll back it up. Work a little clock here with 16-14. Over to Tillery. Off a high screen. Picks up there by Isaiah Gibson. Back to Jeffers, right elbow. Picks up his dribble, looking for help. It's over to Spicer. He'll jump from the left elbow and good. And hit. Larry Spicer starting to feel it. He's got 12 points on the night. And it's 62-43. Gibson directs traffic up top. Gets it over to Hopkins. Hopkins into the corner, Saracen. Up top it goes to Washington. Washington working off a ball screen up top. He'll bounce left side. And got to get him with a carry as he tried to scoop it up there. We're at the first media timeout here in the second half. Armstrong State 62, Coastal Georgia 43. You're listening to college basketball all across the Southern Pigskin Radio Network. Welcome back to Alumni Arena. Kevin Thomas here with you. 15:33 to go. Armstrong State 62, Coastal Georgia 43. Thanks for joining us here tonight all across the Southern Pigskin Radio Network for a little college basketball action. It will be Armstrong basketball coming out of this media timeout. KJ James will bring it into Jeffers. Hopkins going to check him, and he'll get called for a foul. 50 feet in the backcourt. So that'll be his first. Team's fifth foul already. We haven't quite played 5 minutes here in the second half. So we'll do this all over again as Jeffers going to break the pressure and get into the front court. Gets it over to KJ James. Make that Spicer, rather. Over to Jeffers. Jeffers looking for a screen from Cunningham. Gets it right side. Now goes left side. Jumper for three. Larry Spicer is short. Airballed. And rebound, though, to Tillery. He'll spot for three in the right corner. No good. Rebound comes down to Washington for Coastal Georgia. He'll run the break. Keep it himself. Put it up off the glass and good. Halen Washington's got 17. And it's 62-45. You can get some of those freshmen to come around for Coastal Georgia. Could be a different ball club late in the year. Here's Cunningham, no good. Oh, and they're going to call Sarah's in with a foul. Thought he had the block there. And that'll be his fourth. And it will send DeMarcus Cunningham, 6'7" junior, to the free throw line. Front end is good. So Cunningham's got 3 points. His first free throw of the night.
For the Pirates, number 5, Kalen Clifton, and checking in for Coastal Georgia, number 32.
Kalen Clifton and Mabor Gabriel. Back in for Coastal Georgia. Back in for Cunningham, looking for his fourth point of the night. Sends it on the way, and it's good. 14:44 to go here from Alumni Arena. 64-45. Armstrong out in front. Here's Isaiah Gibson. He'll swing it left side. Over to Hopkins. He'll drive the basket, put it up from 2 feet up and good. Just took Corey Tillery right to the basket and laid it up and in. Jeffers, he just crossed over big time against Gibson, left him standing there looking at nobody. Gives it over for three on the left side to Kalen Clifton. Wow, what a move there by Jeffers, as Isaiah Gibson was guarding air there after the move there. 67-47. Here's Washington, and a reach foul by Cunningham. That's going to be his first. Just the team's third foul.
Number 41, DeMarcus Cunningham. That's his first personal foul. Pirates 30.
Doesn't take you long to look at the box score to figure out where Coastal Georgia's losing this one. 28 rebounds to 12 for Coastal Georgia. Swings it into the corner, Martin. Over to Hopkins. Hopkins going to push it on the floor, try to throw it into the corner to Martin, who just threw it away. It'll go back to Armstrong. Yeah, Armstrong just dominating, 28-12 on the boards. 4 steals. And that's why they lead it by 20. Here's Jeffers in at the foul line, going to take it himself up to the basket, up and good. Just threw it up off the basket. 69-47. Armstrong out in front. Here's Gibson. Up top, we'll call for the high ball screen. Over to Washington. He'll step in. Looking for his help. Up top, Martin. Going to put it on the floor. Back it up. Out on the left wing. Now he comes high side to Gibson. Gibson going to step in, pull up a running jumper from 10 feet and good. So Isaiah Gibson gets his first points of the night. And it's 69-49. Here's Tillery. Working inside there for Armstrong. Looking for some help. Spins around top of the circles. And will reset to Clifton. Jeffers going to direct traffic up there. He'll come left side and in at the left elbow. Feeds it out to KJ James. And KJ James going to get called for the carry.
Coastal Georgia basketball. Checking in for Armstrong State, number 1, Denzel Council.
69-49. Denzel Council back in for Armstrong. Again, the Pirates going to go on the road here to St. Leo on Tuesday next week. And will not be back at home till December 30th. Here's Mabor Gabriel driving right side, throws it up one-handed, no good. Rebound by Hopkins, no good, but he got fouled. And he'll go shoot a couple. Foul's going to be on DeMarcus Cunningham. That's his second. Just a fourth team foul in the second half. So DeLandis Hopkins at the free throw line. Front end on the way. And it is good. Hopkins, another freshman.
Checking in for Coastal Georgia, number 22, Jalen Smallwood.
Jalen Smallwood in, another freshman from Camden County High School for Coastal Georgia. Mabor Gabriel will have a seat. 12:34 to go. Hopkins on the back end, sends it on the way, and it's no good, too strong. Rebound comes down to the Pirates. Outlet pass way into the front court, and out of there. Washington slams it out of there. Cunningham was going up for what he thought was an easy dunk, and Halen Washington swatted out of there. They're actually going to give it to Jalen Smallwood. That'll be his second. And DeMarcus Cunningham going to shoot two as Armstrong goes in a 1-on-1 bonus, though. Good recovery by Washington, though. Did not allow Cunningham to get that easy dunk, and he makes the first. Washington going to have a seat. Mabor Gabriel going to check out. As Cunningham will try to complete the two-shot penalty. Back end is good. 71-50. As Armstrong going to fake a little pressure here. They lead it by 21. Isaiah Gibson between the circles for Coastal. Feeds it to Gabriel. Gabriel looking for help. Back to Gibson. Gibson going to run it back up top. Here's Martin. Martin off the screen. Steps back. Pop for three and short. Couldn't get it to fall and tracked down. Tried to save it is Gibson. Last touch by Coastal Georgia.
Checking in for the Pirates, number 24, Denzel Collins.
Denzel Collins will check back in for Armstrong for Corey Tillery. Halen Washington's back in. Full court pressure here for Coastal Georgia. 12:05 to go here in this one. Council, he'll drop it in to Denzel Collins. Back to Council. Around that pressure it goes. Front court. Jeffers, now we'll get it front court. Swings it over right side. It is Clifton from 8 feet. No good, too strong. Rebound. Armstrong's going to come out of there with it. And another offensive rebound for Armstrong. 17 of them tonight. Here's Jeffers. He'll step in at the paint. Kick it out, Council. He'll put it on the floor at the foul line. Right side, continuing to the basket. Washington blocked it out of there. Coastal Georgia looking to run with Gibson. Gibson front court. He'll bounce to his right. Put it up, had it blocked by Jeffers. Jump ball. It will go to Armstrong. And that gets us to the media timeout. 71-50, Armstrong State leads. You're listening to college basketball all across the Southern Pigskin Radio Network. Welcome back to Alumni Arena. Kevin Thomas here with you. 11:31 to go. It's 71-50. Armstrong State out in front by 21 as they've kind of held their own. You look at the story of the second half, 18 offensive rebounds on the game, 31-14 rebound margin for Armstrong in this one. And so just dominating on the boards, getting second chances. And Coastal Georgia turning the ball over a little more frequently. 14 turnovers tonight for Coastal Georgia. Here's Armstrong trying to break the pressure. Hits it to Denzel Collins. Over to Council. Council looking for Jeffers. He'll get front court and a foul. Going to get called on Jalen Smallwood, and that'll be a 1-on-1 situation here for Armstrong. Mabor Gabriel back in for Coastal Georgia. So Denzel Council is 5 of 8 from the charity stripe tonight. And this is a 1-on-1 situation for Armstrong, and it is good. Make it 6 of 9. And he's got 16 points. Halen Washington, high point man for the game for Coastal Georgia, has got 17. And here's the back end, and now so does Denzel Council. It's 73-50. Armstrong stayed out in front by 23. Here's Isaiah Gibson. Looking for Gabriel, couldn't get it to him. Now trying to get it to him, threw it away. Jeffers on the run out. Going to take it coast to coast, lay it up and in. Jamison Jeffers, he's got 9. It's 75-50. Just picked the pocket there of Gibson. Gibson picked up his dribble, looking for some help. He finds it in Washington. Washington top of the circles. He'll step in at the foul line. Still going to the hoop, up and in for Halen Washington. He's got 19. Coastal try to get into press. Armstrong breaks it quickly. Here's Clifton. He'll go under the basket. Right side to Cunningham from 15 feet is good. Marcus Cunningham's got 8, and it's 77-52. Armstrong out in front. 10:31 to go. Here's Gibson. Back between the circles. He'll stop, pop for 3. Too strong. Nobody underneath for Coastal Georgia. And easy rebound for Armstrong. Jeffers, top of the key. Right side, Clifton wide open for 3. Airballed it. And Martin just had his pocket picked and almost stolen. Jonathan Canada back in for Coastal Georgia. George Brown in for Armstrong. It's 77-52. Armstrong out in front. Here's Canada. Right side, it goes to Washington. Washington up to Martin. Martin top of the circle. He'll bounce to his left. Give it up to Hopkins. Now to Canada. Mabor Gabriel with 13 on the shot clock. In at the foul line. He'll bounce into the corner. Martin with 8. He'll try to pop for 3. Lost the basketball. Gabriel gets it back. Feeds it underneath. And stepping out of bounds was DeLandis Hopkins. So they burned the clock all the way down and had nothing to show for it. With 9:44 to go here in this one. Collins gets it front court to Brown. And reverse layup way too easy up and in. Kalen Clifton. Backdoor cut. Here's Washington up off the glass. No good. Gets his own rebound. Goes up and got fouled. Let's see who they give it to. They're going to give it to Denzel Collins. That'll be his second. And it will send the junior, Halen Washington, to the free throw line out of Milton, Florida for Coastal Georgia. Washington, has had a nice night. 19 points, 5 rebounds, and a block for the Mariners. Make it 20 points. But again, Coastal Georgia's found it tough sledding. Armstrong dominating on the glass. 32 total rebounds to just 16 for Coastal Georgia, including 18 offensive rebounds for the Pirates tonight. Back end is good for Washington. He's got 21. It's 79-54. Armstrong pulling away here in this one. 9:25 to go. From Alumni Arena. As here's George Brown. Gets it over to Clifton. Back to Brown. Mariners trying to extend that defense. Brown to his left. On the give and go to Cunningham. Kicks out. It is Collins. Collins drives the lane and stolen by Washington. Washington falls down. Going to have a little help there. Let's see who they give it to. It's going to be on Denzel Collins, and that'll put Coastal Georgia, I believe, nope, just 6 personal fouls. So next one will put Coastal Georgia in the 1-and-1. Here's Washington in at the foul line. Try to feed it to Gabriel. He picks it up. Gabriel reverse layup, up and good. Nice little lefty hook shot by Babor Gabriel. He's got 8 points. And it's 79-56. Make it 79-56 on the missed shot by Brown. And out of bounds over the end line by Armstrong. 8:44 to go. Here's Canada. He'll bring it front court on his right. Check by George Brown. Here's Hopkins left side, and he just lost the basketball.
Out of bounds, Armstrong State basketball.
And Jesse Watkins frustrated with that sloppy ball handling. He'll put Jordan Lewis back in. You had Canada and Brown squaring up. A couple of guys from Camden County High School there on that last possession. They check each other here. Here's Brown to the left. He'll swing it around Cunningham, feeds it down to the low post. Council back out for 3 to Collins, and Collins stutter step before he went to the basket, and they're going to call the travel. Mamadou Senghor going to check in.
Mamadou Senghor.
6'9" freshman from Jonesboro, Georgia. So here's Canada on the left wing. He's checked by Brown. Up top it goes to Washington off a Senghor screen. He goes driving right side, try to put it up over some arms, and one for Halen Washington. And he's got 23. Foul's going to be 41 to Marcus Cunningham. That's his 3rd personal. That was a shooting foul, but Mariners will be at least in the 1-on-1 from here on out as the 7th team foul. So here's Halen Washington, 6 of 6 from the free throw line. Make it a perfect 7 of 7. It's 79-59, back to a 20-point ball game with 8:01 to go. Get a timeout at the next dead ball. As George Brown, 5'11" guard from Kingsland. He'll drive to his left, take it coast to coast, high off the glass, and good. George Brown gets his first points of the night, and it's 81-59. Jordan Lewis, left wing. He'll bring it up top, Washington. Washington feeds it inside to Senghor. Back to Washington. He calls for the screen, step to his left, pop for 3, and hit. Halen Washington's got 27. And the outlet pass is stolen by the Mariners. Here comes Martin. He'll give it up to Canada. Martin, right side, will pop for 3, and hit. Brandon Martin got an open look. He's got 17. And it's 81-65. Mariners starting to heat up from behind the arc. And what do we have? Timeout for Armstrong State University. Evans Davis has seen enough. It's 81-65. We'll step aside. You're listening to college basketball all across the Southern Pigskin Radio Network. Welcome back to Alumni Arena. 7:06 to go here in this one. Armstrong State leads at 81-65 over the College of Coastal Georgia. KJ James will be the trigger man right in front of us. As a couple of turnovers there for Armstrong had Evans Davis upset a little bit. Wanted to stop that run by Coastal Georgia right there. Right side it goes to Denzel Collins. They work the perimeter to do the Pirates. And back up top, here's Jeffers. Thought about a three, steps in at the foul line, gets it over left side to Clifton. He'll step in, pull it up from 10 feet short, gets his own rebound, goes up, and what do we have? Foul on Armstrong. Foul's going to be on Kalen Clifton. And that will send Coastal Georgia to the free throw line, shooting 1-1. Mariners going with a bigger lineup here, and now we get the media timeout. We'll keep it right here as Coastal Georgia with a little bigger lineup. You had Mamadou Senghor and Mabor Gabriel, so 2 6'9" guys in there trying to go with a little bit of a bigger lineup. We'll see what that does for Coastal Georgia here moving down the stretch, as they obviously have conference games coming up here first part of December. Armstrong will not be at home until December 30th. The Pirates' first conference game coming up on Wednesday, December 14th at Georgia College in Milledgeville. That's a 10 a.m. tip time, if I'm reading this correctly. And then Monday at Montevideo, Monday, December 19th, Montevideo, 8:30. Then not at home. Next home game will be December 30th against Point University, part of a 3-game homestand for the Pirates. January 4th and January 6th, Young Harris and North Georgia, respectively, coming into Alumni Arena here in Savannah. So basketball season getting cranked up. Armstrong will go to a preseason tournament following this. A holiday tournament. Actually, you have at St. Leo next Tuesday, then the Horn Holiday Classic in Greenwood, South Carolina, right around Thanksgiving. Out of the timeout, it will be Isaiah Gibson, or excuse me, Jordan Lewis, actually, at the free throw line. First trip for Jordan Lewis tonight. He'll take a couple dribbles, setting the first one on the way, and good. 81-66. Mariners have tried to whittle this thing down. Got it down to 15. And make it 14 as Lewis knocks them both down. He's got 4 on the night. And it's 81-67, inside 7 minutes to go. Here's Collins. Back to Jeffers. Over to Collins. To Clifton. They feed it underneath to KJ James. Back out to Collins for 3. No good. Rebound. What do we have? Something underneath.
Fouls called. Fouls on Coastal Georgia's number 3, Jonathan.
And they called Jonathan Canada on the clear out. His 4th personal. And the team's night, so 1-1 upcoming here for Denzel Council. Council's got 17 points, 7 of 10 from the free throw line tonight to go with 11 boards. He and KJ James with double-doubles for Armstrong tonight. And in front of the 1-1, it is good. So 18 for Denzel Council. And it's 82-67, 6:27 to go here. Back end upcoming of the 1-1 on the way, and it is no good. Rebound comes down to the Pirates, and up and no good by Clifton. Tip back up and in by KJ James, and it's 84-67. Armstrong continues the domination on the offensive glass. 22 offensive rebounds tonight. Here's Washington, 3 from the right side, too strong. Gabriel trying to get the rebound. Senghor in there, he gets it back, lays it up, no good. Gets the ball back, tries to spin around, up and no good. Still recovered, Washington up and in. So Halen Washington tries and finally recovers. He's got 29 tonight for Coastal. Here's Collins up top to Jeffers, right side it goes to Clifton. Into the corner, thought about a 3 is KJ James. He'll drive, give it up. Clifton back to Collins, left corner. Jeffers thought about a 3. He'll step in. Back to Collins, top of the arc for 3. No good, too strong. Rebound comes down to Washington for Coastal Georgia. 84-69. Here's Washington, right wing. Washington dribbles to his left. Now steps in. Gets it over to Senghor. He'll pop long range. No good, too strong. And a rebound comes down to Armstrong. Here's Collins looking to run. To Jeffers. He'll slow the pace now, back it up. Go over to Collins. Collins will step into the corner three for Clifton. Good. Kalen Clifton knocks it down for three, and he's got 13 points on the night. And it's 87-69. Here's the lob. Gabriel up off the glass, and good. Mabor Gabriel. He's got 10, and it's 87-71. Here's Collins back to Jeffers. Coastal Georgia relaxing into a little bit of a matchup zone. Now they'll pressure the ball out up top. Here's Jeffers to Clifton. Back cut to KJ James. Lays it up. No good, but he got fouled. I believe that's going to be on Mamadou Senghor underneath. That'll be the first personal on Mamadou. It'll be a two-shot penalty here for KJ James. James has got 15 and 13. Make it 16 and 13 as he knocks it down. 4 of 4 from the free throw line. 4:32 to go here from Alumni Arena. 88-71 is the back end upcoming for James. And it's good. 89-71. Armstrong State out in front. Here's Washington for Coastal Georgia. He'll give way to Canada with the basketball. Canada dribbles to his left. He'll try to feed it into Gabriel. Gabriel going to back it in on Cunningham. Gabriel right-handed hook shot up and good. Gabriel's got 12, and it's 89-73, 4:10 to go. Here in the second half, Jeffers. Back to Clifton. He'll give it up top to James, feeding underneath to Cunningham. Back to Clifton, pump fake to three. He tried to drive baseline and thought better of it, backed it out. Here's Jeffers between the circles, 89-73. He'll bounce to his left, get a screen back to his right, and a turnover. I was looking for Collins, who wasn't there. Here's Washington, right side. Gives it up, Gibson, way too strong, no good. That was Lewis, rather, way too strong. Now the outlet run to Cunningham up, no good. Unbelievable pass that time by KJ James. Tipped it behind his head. And there's going to be a foul, and that should bring us to the under 4 timeout. 89-73. Jonathan Canada just fouled out, and we'll take a media timeout. 89-73, 3:37 to go. You're listening to college basketball all across the Southern Pigskin Radio Network. Welcome back to Alumni Arena here on the campus of Armstrong State University. It's 89-73. Pirates lead this one over Coastal Georgia, 3:37 to go. And we appreciate all of you being along here with us along the network tonight. AM 1400, FM 104.3 in Savannah Hilton Head. And along the Golden Isles, AM 790, FM 103.7. And, of course, streaming live on ESPNCoastal.com. Also want to thank the folks again at Armstrong State. We're no good by Cunningham, by the way. Patching audio through on the YouTube internet feed, so got our play-by-play call there on the Armstrong State Pirates YouTube channel. Happy to be along with you guys tonight as well as Cunningham drops in the back end. It's 90-73. Inside 3.5 to go now from Alumni Arena. Here is Gibson, left side on the wing. Looking for Washington up top. They feed it down on the post. Here's Martin. Back out top to Washington. Washington will direct traffic, now bounce to his right. Looking to make something happen. He'll step in, drive to his right, put it up off the glass. Good, and one for Washington. And he is having himself a whale of a ball game. Foul's going to be on KJ James. That'll be his 4th personal. Again, if you missed it going to break, Jonathan Canada fouled out for Coastal Georgia. 2 points on the night. For him, Halen Washington trying to convert the 3-point play here to make it 90-76, and he does. Big night for Halen Washington tonight, really playing well for Coastal Georgia. Here's Jeffers over to Clifton, back to Jeffers. Coastal Georgia in the 2-3 zone look. 15 to shoot. Now Gibson will step out on Jeffers. Jeffers will call for a screen from James. He'll step in at the lane on the left. Swinging around Clifton. He'll spot for 3 there, and no good, too strong. Martin with the rebound for Coastal Georgia. And it's a 14-point ball game with 2:44 to go. Here's Martin. He'll spot for 3, too strong. Rebound comes down to Saracen. He'll clear to Gibson. Isaiah Gibson will step in left side, throws up a runner, at it, blocked by Clifton out of there, and here comes Armstrong straight on the run. Here's Jeffers, left side, feeds it down on the block. Cunningham had it, blocked out of there by Gabriel, got it back, put it up and in. Recovered the block shot from Gabriel, and Cunningham recovered and put it up and in. He's got 11. Here tonight, here's Gibson. And what do we have? Timeout called for by Jesse Watkins of Coastal Georgia with 2:12 to go. 92-76 your score. And again, story of the night for Armstrong, just getting it done on the glass. 40 rebounds tonight to Coastal Georgia's 23, including 23 big offensive rebounds for Armstrong tonight. They are led by Denzel Council with 18. They've got 5 players in double figures tonight. Council with 18 points, 11 boards. You've got KJ James, 17 points, 13 boards. So 2 guys in double figures there. Kalen Clifton with 13 points. 10 points for Corey Tillery, 11 for DeMarcus Cunningham after that last layup. For Coastal Georgia, Halen Washington leads it with 32 points, 7 boards. Brandon Martin's got 17 and 5, and 12 points for Mabor Gabriel in 17 minutes. Inbounds pass comes to Peyton Applegate, 6'8", another freshman for Coastal Georgia. He'll give it up to Gibson out on the right wing. Get a screen from Martin. Gibson will bounce to his left, give it up Applegate over to Washington, back to Gibson. Gibson just outside the foul line, will pull it up, long range 2, no good. Rebound comes down to KJ James for the Pirates. He'll hand it up to Jeffers, who will slow it up and try to burn some clock away here with 1:42 to go. 2-3 zone look, bigger lineup here for Coastal Georgia. Also have Jeremy Joyner, a 6'8" freshman. So right now you got 3 freshmen and 2 juniors out there for Coastal Georgia. Jeffers goes to his left, gives it up. James going to spot for 3 and hit. KJ James now has 20. And it's 95-76. Here's Lewis out on the right. Off a high screen from Applegate. Looking for some help. He'll come back. Washington, he'll spot for 3 and no good, too strong. Rebound comes down to James. Give it up to Jeffers left side. Back to James. Kicks it over to Collins. Lays it up off the glass. Good and 1 for Collins. Denzel Collins got 5. Jeremy Joyner will pick up the personal. And now emptying the bench, Tyler May going to come in for Coastal Georgia, in for Halen Washington. Washington going to finish tonight with 32 points, 7 boards, 3 steals, an assist and a block on 11 of 21 shooting on the night, 8 of 8 from the free throw line. Brandon Martin going to check out as well. He's likely done for the evening. 17 points, 5 boards for him. As Collins converts the 3-point play. He's got 4 points. Here is Gibson. He'll work off a high screen from Joyner. Right side it goes. That is Smallwood. Down to Applegate. Applegate looking for help. He'll bounce to his right. Spin move. Try to throw it up. No foul call. Now he gets the foul called with 40 seconds to go. As Peyton Applegate out of Temple, Georgia, Temple High School, will go to the free throw line. So Applegate trying to get on the board tonight. And he does not, in and out, no good. Just the second miss of the night from the free throw line for Coastal Georgia. And the back end is no good. Missed them both. Rebound, though, comes down to Joyner, puts it up, and he's fouled. So Jeremy Joyner will go to the line. So Joyner on the front end, in and out, no good. So cold shooting starting to come here at the free throw line for the Mariners. Both teams shooting it pretty well. Both teams over 80% at the charity stripe tonight. Joyner missed them both with 37 seconds. Here comes Jeffers. It's 98-76. Fans want one more basket to try to get to the century mark. Here's a long-range three, no good, way too strong. And now the Mariners going to try the outlet pass. Here's Joyner. Joyner going to go up, reverse layup, no good. And he got all kinds of bothered by Logan Ballard that time. And they're going to say Ballard got a piece of it. With 15.2, it'll stay Coastal Georgia basketball. So you've got Adrian Gaines in there. Homestanding fans want the century mark. He comes into Joyner, slapped out of bounds by Armstrong again with 14.5. As the Pirate faithful want to see 100 go up on the board. Here's Gibson. It comes in to Joyner. Joyner up and under move, up and in. So 2 points for Jeremy Joyner. Here's Jeffers with 10 seconds. Jeffers going to dribble to the right. Evans Davis says pull it out. With 3 seconds, 2 seconds, 1, and Armstrong gets their first win of the year, 98-78 over the College of Coastal Georgia. Much needed victory there for Armstrong as they get their first win of the season and will now go on the road for a long time. Won't be back home here again until December 30th. So a long road stretch coming up. Final score tonight, we'll come back with some post-game thoughts and totals for you here as well. 98-78, Armstrong State wins it here. You're listening to college basketball all across the Southern Pigskin Radio Network. Hold on. Up there for y'all's web stream.
Oh, okay.
I'll try to speak up so you can hear me then. I think you had two guys with double-doubles tonight.
They've been doing that for me. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I can
Okay.
hear you just fine.
Is this fine?
That's fine. Yeah, you're good. Yeah, we can talk. Yeah, we can talk to you. Yeah. You guys had Welcome back to Alumni Arena. Final score tonight, Armstrong State 98, Coastal Georgia 78. We're joined here courtside by the head basketball coach of the Armstrong State Pirates, Evans Davis. And, Coach, one basket away there from 100. Your thoughts on the first home game for you guys tonight, putting up 98 points?
Well, I'm pleased. I'm pleased that we were able to score the ball. Still a lot of things we have to work on, but this is good for the student body to get out and see us for the first time this year. Good for my guys to get out and get a win. We could have tried to score that 100 point, but hey, it wasn't worth it.
You had a couple of guys with double figures tonight. KJ James 20 and 15, and Denzel Council 18 and 11 for you. Talk about their play for you tonight.
Well, those two guys have been focal points for us, positive focal points for us early on in the season. I think they pressed a little bit early. Too much, got consumed probably with those numbers, and we're trying to promote, moving the basketball, let's get more balance. But I'm definitely pleased that those guys were able to do what they've been doing all season, and that's play well for us.
Talk about what you saw from your team tonight. A 20-point victory for you. First home game. You guys are about to go back out on the road for a long time here as well. But what did you see from your team top to bottom? You got to play a lot of guys here tonight as well.
Yeah, I'm just trying to get these 13 guys on the same page, the 13 new guys. So, it has its moments. But for the most part, I was trying to get them reps. I was a little disappointed in just our execution. I thought we were sloppy handling the basketball. We weren't as sharp with our passes. But the only way you're going to get better is repetition, and no better way to do it than against live competition. So I'm pleased we won, and it's some things we can build on.
I had to be pleased with your work on the glass tonight. Out-rebounded them 43-26, 23 offensive rebounds tonight. That's not bad, whoever you're playing, is it?
No, not at all. And that's one thing we've done well early on in the season. That's offensive rebounds. Now half of it is from our own misses. But at the same time, the guys are very active around the boards, and that's going to help us because we're going to face some really tough teams as we continue to play.
Talk about this stretch where this was your home opener. Mm-hmm. You're not at home until December 30th.
That's right.
How do you kind of keep that momentum going where you don't really play in front of your home crowd all that often?
It's hard to get them to come to Armstrong. So luckily, the games that I'm playing on the road, they're going to come back to us next year. So we'll have a slew of games next year at home in front of our crowd. So, it just comes with the territory. I do think it prepares us for Peach Belt play. It's always hard to win on the road, so going out early in the season and get tested, I think, it helps us down the road.
Coach Evans Davis joining us here courtside. 98-78 Armstrong wins here tonight. Coach, congratulations. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Appreciate it. Evans Davis joining us here courtside as we look over some of the final numbers here this evening at Alumni Arena. Again, 98-78 for Armstrong. You look at the leading scorer there for the Pirates. KJ James finished with 20 points, 15 rebounds. Denzel Council, 18 points, 11 boards. Both players with double-doubles there for Coach Evans Davis. You had a number of guys in double figures. Larry Spicer, DeMarcus Cunningham, 12 points for Spicer, 11 for Cunningham, 13 points for Caitlin Clifton, 10 for Corey Tillery, Gives you 6 guys with the double figures in the scoring tonight, and Jamison Jeffers missed it by just 1 point, running the show there for Armstrong. For Coastal Georgia, big night for a couple of guys there for the Mariners. You had 32 points and 7 boards for Halen Washington. That's obviously going to be a big focal point there for Jesse Watkins' crew moving forward. And Brandon Martin, 17 points, 5 boards for the Mariners on 6 of 11 shooting for him. For the ball game tonight, Coastal Georgia 49.2% from the floor. Armstrong 50.7%, very even. I was talking to both coaches before the game. You look at the stat lines for both of these teams, and they were very similar in terms of how they shot the basketball, what they did. 49.2 to 50.7 from the floor tonight. Not bad at all. 38% behind the arc for Coastal Georgia, 31.8 behind the arc for Armstrong. 72% on 13 of 18 from the free throw line for the Mariners. Armstrong, conversely, 21 of 26 for 80%. And we talked with Evans Davis there about the rebounding margin, 43-26 in favor of the Pirates, and 23 offensive boards included in that. 17 assists to just 17 assists, 15 turnovers for Armstrong, 8 assists to 18 turnovers for the College of Coastal Georgia there this evening. And as we mentioned, it will be conference play coming up for the Mariners first part of December. Armstrong goes on the road next week at St. Leo before the Horn Holiday Classic Friday and Saturday right there after Thanksgiving. Thursday, December 1st at Valdosta State, and a slew of road games until December 30th, where Armstrong will be at home against Point University Friday afternoon, a 3 p.m. tip-off there. For my guy back in the studio, PJ Zuko, keeping us underway here all across the network this evening. Appreciate his work. 98-78, your final score, Armstrong over Coastal Georgia. I'm Kevin Thomas. Have a great night, everybody, all across the Southern Pigskin Radio Network.